Alright, so I'm hopping on right now to give two very specific updates. As far as SMWW's football GM and scouting course, things are still moving along pretty much the same. We're just doing different position groups each week and then different tasks associated with salary cap. So those things are similar to what I would have reported previously. We did take a 2-week break for the Christmas holidays, and one of the exciting updates I want to provide actually happened to me during the Christmas break. One of the requirements of the course is that we carry out informational interviews, and what that means is getting on the phone, getting on Zoom, or meeting in person with somebody who's in the industry. Living in Bermuda, there isn't anybody in the industry I can meet in person, so of course that's a Zoom call or a phone call for me. So this isn't as easy as it sounds, because most people aren't going to respond to you, especially right now during football season. They're all busy. So most of us have sent out at least 30 emails, some of us 50. I've sent about 50 myself, and I've only gotten one reply. The one reply I did get was a gentleman named Chris Landry, who you may or may not have heard of. Chris has been in the business longer than I've been alive. He worked with LSU previously. He oversaw the scouting combine 1 year, in fact, and he worked with the Cleveland Browns back when Bill Belichick and Nick Saban were on staff. When he was with the Browns, this was where he really developed a lot of the criteria he uses when he's scouting or evaluating film. And I myself have been a member of Chris's website for, a few years now. And I've always used his criteria. I've always used his structure because it's very comprehensive. It's very organized and well laid out. Even now that I'm in the course with SMWW, I still use Chris's structure because it allows me to see what I'm missing, and it kind of guides you as you watch the film, if that makes any sense. You'll go through and you start plugging in saying, okay, I got this and I got that. And then you're able to look back at this template, because I built a template with Chris's criteria for each position group. And you're able to look back at a template and say, oh, I didn't do anything on a specific area. So you want to go back and plug that in and make sure it's filtered in properly. And what was so cool about Chris was he was so willing to talk. He was trying to make it happen almost as if he were asking me for a favor. So we had a date that we were planning on talking, and then immediately he messaged me after and said, oh, you know what, that date won't work. I'm sorry. Let's do December 26th. He forgot that he had a family obligation. December 26th is a holiday in Bermuda. It's Boxing Day, but we scheduled it for a time that will work outside of my family dinner because I had a family dinner plan for that day. Fast forward to Christmas Eve. I have my daughter at a birthday party for one of her school friends, and Chris sends me an email real fast. Hey, listen, Boxing Day won't work anymore. Sorry, I call it Boxing Day. December 26th won't work anymore. I forgot I had another family thing. Are you available this evening? So I said, absolutely, if you don't mind talking on Christmas Eve. I didn't want to feel like I was putting him out. Chris said, no, absolutely. Give me a call later, we'll talk. So I called Chris. Now this 10-minute interview, because it's typically a 10-minute to 15-minute interview you're trying to have, this turned into a 62-minute chat about football, even about life. We were talking about some things outside of football too, but the wealth of information. I mean, Chris was around when they were still cutting film. He told me this is how cut-ups got their name. Many of you might know this, but they were cutting the physical film and taping it together. So, I mean, you can imagine picking his brain was awesome. It was like just a dream. And so he was able to tell me so many things. And there were a lot of things that he told me that just made me recenter. Because sometimes you're in this official setting, this course, and you're trying to do everything right, and you're so worried, and you start to lose your touch, So he got me recentered, got me feeling like, hey, wait a minute, let me just do it my way. And he said, one of the important things he says to me, he says, trust yourself. He said, if you watch the film, trust yourself. And then he gave me an example about a time he allowed a more senior scout at the time to talk him out of the grade he was going to give somebody, and in the end proved out the grade he was going to give the person was more accurate. He also told me about something that he regret, one of his misses, and that made me laugh because the guys in the course, Russ and Dane both, They said, listen, if anybody tells you they're a scout and they've been scouting for any significant amount of time and they can't tell you about the times that they missed, they're lying to you. You remember the misses more than you remember the hits. That's what they said. And it's the same thing Chris said. So it was cool. We really had what didn't feel like a formal interview. It just felt like an informal chat. And I got so much information out of it. But now, that leads me to the second update. The second update is that we're going to rebrand the channel. It's not going to be right now. It's going to be taking place in a matter of weeks. So we have 3 weeks left in the course. This is week 5. Well, 4 weeks because we still have to finish week 5. So once we finish, a few of us have decided that we're still going to meet weekly to have our Zoom chats. And we're going to record those and post those on YouTube. The plan for that now is that we'll have different topics, similar to any other YouTube channel, really. We're going to be doing that. And the topics aren't always going to be film evaluation. Sometimes it'll just be whatever's relevant in football. Many times we'll talk about SMWW, and a lot of times we'll have guests. So there are going to be probably 2 or 3 of us who are always on, and then we'll have guests from our class that join us when they're available, because there are quite a few guys in the class. I think there are 24 of us. There are quite a few guys in the class who are interested but might not be available every week or every other week, however often we upload. So we'll be having them on as guests when they're available, and I look forward to every one of them joining us as guests because they are all a wealth of information. You got guys with a variety of backgrounds that are so awesome. And I won't spoil it. I'll allow them to introduce themselves. These guys have so much to offer. And because we're all getting this structure from SMWW, it allows us to deliver it in a way that we feel confident because we're getting this structured instruction from persons who have some skin in the game, from persons who actually can say, hey, this is how to do it. So we're not just jumping on here saying, this is what I believe when I see this player. We're not trying to give any misinformation. We're trying to break down film, give analysis the way that we've been taught. But the other thing is, we'll discuss SMWW a bunch, of course, because none of us were able to find any relevant information that was current, like I said in my last video, to allow us to make an informed decision about SMWW. So anybody that comes along any of our videos, they might be able to say, hey, listen, these guys went to SMWW. Let me see what it is they have to say. And it can help people know where they want to spend their money. Now, that said, I'm probably looking at doing one of the other apprenticeships through the same organization with the gentleman Dane Vandernack, because I think he's absolutely brilliant. So being able to pick his mind a little bit closer and actually study film with him is something I feel like I'd be a fool not to take advantage of. But that's for another day. Speaking of Dane, though, I fully intend to reach out to Dane, to Russell Land, that is, and ask them to be guests at some point once we get this thing rolling. So they'll be able to come on. They're obviously not going to give the whole 8-week course on YouTube, but they'll be able to come on, maybe have a chat about football, some of the things they do in the scouting, things about the course, just for informational purposes. I'm sure they wouldn't mind, unless there's something that wouldn't allow them to, but we'll see. I'll definitely ask. And then Dr. Lynn Lashbrook, that's the person who runs SMWW. I'm definitely going to get a hold of him. My boy, Dr. LL Cool J. I'll definitely get a hold of him, ask him if he wants to jump on with some former students and maybe even current. Because like I said, I intend to jump into another one in the fall. I wouldn't be surprised if some of my classmates are planning the same thing. Some of my classmates are actually able to take advantage of these other opportunities, some through SMWW, some inspired by SMWW. But you got a few of us who are going down to Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. A few guys talking about going to the East-West Shrine Game. Guys talking about going to the Combine. One of our classmates was actually at the Hula Bowl. He took some pictures, he gave us some updates, he was doing some scouting, so he was putting these tools to use live action. It's awesome. I was living vicariously through him at that moment. I mean, the opportunities and the experiences are worth it alone. Whatever comes of it after is a bonus. But this has been awesome. Just talking football to people who really, really get the game. Because a lot of times, I mean, the content we get is driven for clicks. Even the ESPNs and all of that national TV now, it's all about ratings and clicks and excitement and drawing people's attention. It doesn't feel like it's about football, not primarily. So being able to sit down twice a week and talk to these dudes and continue it after this class, I think will be awesome, for no other reason than we all love ball. So I know you guys love ball too. Appreciate anybody who's spending a few of the minutes listening to this video. Any videos we make in the future, look out for those updates. About a month's time, we'll probably start dropping some of our group videos, and I really think you'll enjoy that. Thanks again.